Hi, I'm Siren, and this is the story of a long-time dream of owning a bluewater boat to continue traveling the world in. I sold my house to buy a 1976 Tayana 37, a true gem of Taiwanese craftsmanship. Living aboard, I have Garrison, a sick pigeon that I rescued out of the water in Key West, and Sebastian from Home Depot. It hasn't been easy, and I've been lucky to have help along the way, but now I'm on my own. I've done repairs to the teak deck, I've replaced some rigging, and I've completed a lot of projects around the boat, but she still needs work, like new chain plates and all new rigging, and fixing the leaks in my deck fittings. It's been a masterpiece of misadventures so far, so hit that subscribe button and join me on this quest to find far-off lands, deep seas, and fun waves.
Do you go up faster when you use your toes like that? Is this like a just pure toe strength? Look at that toe strength. You're gonna clean that off the
We spent 6 days prepping the boat for the upcoming passage from Key West to Fort Myers, Florida, which was spent checking systems and trying to troubleshoot our radio issues, amongst other problems. The only guarantee was our 6-watt handheld, but we wanted to try to install an antenna at the top of the mast, remove the lightning rod, install a new radio, and all new coax. Even after our friend Billy took Darren up the mast multiple times to make this happen, the radio still wasn't working. I winched her up the mast a final time to remove everything and bring it all down to a lower mounting point, which eliminated the new coax cable altogether. Darren is a master sailor and captain, a diesel mechanic in training, and is passionate about boat projects, so she was often up before I was in the mornings to tackle odd jobs. I couldn't have been more grateful for her enthusiasm, as well as having great friends around like our boat neighbors on Indigo and Lacey and Billy to help get the boat ready, which seemed to be having more issues now than it ever had. We did get a few moments of free time here and there to try our hand at bully netting lobster and to do some work by the local pool, but overall the week was exhausting, which is never a great way to start overnight travel. So I have a new toy this week. It is the sponsor of this week's video. It is called the TicWatch Pro 5 Enduro by Mobvoi, and it is this clever little smartwatch right here. Now it pretty much does everything. I've never had a smartwatch before, so I'm not really spoiled with one, but now that I have one, I see all of the incredible benefits, and even the benefits for like cruisers and people, you know, going from port to port on their boats. I've already been in the pool with it. This particular model connects to an Android device, so I have a new tablet that is an Android tablet that I've connected mine to, and it's working really well so far, and I can get on there and I can see all of my health stats and everything right there in the app, or I can see that stuff on the watch. Not only does it tell me the time, it does a lot of other things too. It does tell me my heart rate, my blood oxygen level, and it tells me my stress level, and I can get my phone calls and my text on here. So even when I'm underway or I'm like working on the boat, I can still get like my important phone calls, and I don't have to have my phone on me all the time, which is really, really helpful on a boat because let's be honest, phones go in the water. I can also listen to music on the Enduro, and it has some really cool features that you might want, like if you're on the boat, such as the barometer, which is really helpful, and weather and things like that. If I go into town on the dinghy, I can now make payments using my phone. I can load my debit cards and credit cards in here so that I only need my watch to make payments, or if I forget cash or if I lose cash or anything, I still have money right here on my wrist. It also has Google Maps. So if I pull into a dock or something or an anchorage and I want to know where the nearest store is, I can find out right here on my watch. It's really cool. So I think as a cruiser or someone who has a boat and travels on it, it's really handy to just be able to have all of your tools right here at the click of a button on your wrist. It's one of those things, it's like heated seats in a car. You don't think you need them until you have them. The interface itself is really nice, and you can change the screen to be more simplified or more complicated depending on your preferences. I prefer the more complicated ones, and you can change the band. I preferred this one. It is like a silicone waterproof band. It's not too big or uncomfortable in any way. It is pretty light. I think this is going to be really helpful going forward because we've just left the mooring field here in Key West and we have about 600 miles to go for this trip to get back to Panama City for the refit on this boat. We're going to be stopping at a lot of little towns along the way, and I'm just excited that I can have everything I need right here on my wrist.
I'm so hot, don't even look at me. Radio works and we call Jolly Rover, yay! But we still can't communicate on the 1 watt channel that happens to be 17 that everyone wants to talk on. Great, maybe he'll call us back on 1.6. Make some spaghetti. Woo! Spaghetti? I want to. Or you can drive and I can make some spaghetti. I don't know. I feel like I need to eat food though. This ancient device. Dinosaur. Dude, it looks like one of the first Muppets ever to be built. Oh yeah, it takes a minute to warm up. Warming up. Alright, I'm gonna make some spaghetti. Okay. Yeah, with the refrigerator and this ancient creature on board, we're drawing almost 10 amps. 12 amps.
It's 2:15 a.m. and at 1:30 a.m. Darren was on watch, and we are about 45 miles south-southwest of Marco Island. We're about halfway between Key West and civilization, I guess you could say. We're not halfway through the trip because we're going to shoot up straight to Fort Myers. It's like a 27-hour run. But yeah, it's middle of the night. We're like as far from land as we were ever going to be on this leg, and the engine died, cut off. We went through everything. We think it's a ventilation problem. Started up again. She said she heard a loud pow right before it. She was on watch. I was asleep. I was there in the cockpit with her, but I don't know. Everything's running again. We're good. We're fine. We're safe. We can turn on Starlink if we need. We have EPIRBs. We have life raft. We're fine. But we're just seeing what happens. So all is well, but yeah, we were just floating around for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, something like that. At 1:30 a.m., the engine stopped. We were 45 miles from the nearest shoreline, and the furthest point from land that we'd be within that passage. I took the wheel for the next several hours while Darren went down below and dismantled the entire fuel system and cleaned filters and bled the lines multiple times as seas built and the night grew darker, making it more difficult to see the exact swell direction. I was left to steer the boat at just the right angle as the dinghy seemed to want to rip off the davits every time the boat would get tossed slightly to port or starboard. Not only that, but a thunderstorm was creeping up from behind us, so I maneuvered away from that until it dissipated. Darren spent hours down below troubleshooting and trying to get us going again. Luckily, we were still doing around 1 knot as we strategically drifted closer to our ditch point, Marco Island.
We're not getting any fuel. There's nothing, this isn't priming or anything, so I was hoping to use that to see if we get fuel to bleed the system, but we're not getting fuel.
So the fuel pump's not pumping, we're not getting fuel.
No, it was pumping before, just now it's not, and that's telling me that the battery's dead, I'm guessing, because otherwise it would be pumping.
Okay.
And the manual is not getting hard.
Alright.
So I need to get to that battery.
Alright, I can come down and we can pull all that stuff out of there.
I can probably pull it out, I
By
guess.
2:30 a.m., I had turned on Starlink to contact the outside world, and by 4 a.m., we had Cito on the phone, and we'd be their first pickup of the day, which wouldn't arrive until around 10 a.m. By 2 p.m., we were arriving at a marina in Marco Island, where we'd be for the next 2 nights. So Darren's already back down in the boat
doing mechanical things. I don't know where she gets this kind of energy from because I don't have it. So I'm gonna go to sleep. Cito has us. The yellow pirates are here to save the day. We're delirious. And the sun is now up and it's gonna be a scorcher. And somehow we have to sleep through that. Or I have to sleep through that. Darren's not gonna sleep through anything.
I gotta fix the problem. Gotta fix it.
No, we have time to fix it. I don't know how she's awake.
I need to fix it just now.
She's been up all night. I have no idea how she's awake. I've been steering this boat in this like weird straight line. If you turn too far that way or too far that way, the freaking dinghy like is like the davits are gonna fall off this boat. Like I need reinforced davits or I need new davits. There's just all of it needs to be figured out. The dinghy's great, but it's supposed to be okay for the davits, but I don't know. We did well. Been going from.
There's another filter.
You found another filter?
Oh, damn it. Yeah, it's a little silver filter hidden underneath this fucking edge.
It's 8:30. We've been doing this since 1:30. Steering this boat in a straight line so that we didn't rip off the dinghy. And the Cito guy, I hope that he packed lunch because we're still like, we're more than 30 miles from shore and we're not moving fast or anything, so we're gonna be here all day. Pretty sure we have a clogged hose though. I think that might be the verdict, maybe. Anyway, good morning, good night, and all that. Bye. Update. The Cito guy had a crab pot wrapped around his lower unit. He stopped us and asked us if we had a crab pot, if we were pulling a crab pot. And we're not. And he stopped us again, and he was pulling a crab pot. And then Darren, with all of her energy, got back down there and found another filter. She called her boss, who was like a master mechanic. He said, that's a fuel conditioner, rip that thing out of there. Apparently people install them, and they're supposed to like, I don't know, catch all the rest of it or whatever. But apparently they just like fill up with algae and cause a big mess, and they're not worth having. So I said, take that thing out. She's got it out, but now we gotta like blow the lines, and like we have a little pump in here to use. And there's options for that, I guess, but it's not going to be right now. Darren finally decided that she was going to go to sleep. That's where she's at.
This is a pickup tube for our diesel tank. This goes into the tank to pick up fuel.
And what does it look like, Darren?
Check out my hole.
What are you holding on to?
This is what just came out of our pickup tube.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, this is a biomass created by diesel, and or someone put a like a calamari or a piece of raw chicken in your diesel tank. Because that's also what it looked like.
That's fun. I may have accidentally done that one night when I was drunk.
I quit. You know what? I quit. I quit. I'm gonna put it with the rest of our creature. What? I mean, look at it though. It's crazy. It's like, it looks like a chick part of it, like a spleen. Like, I mean, look at it. What else would you think that is? And this is now clean. And now I get to put it back together and then pull apart between the ray cores and the fuel filter on the main engine. And then bleed the whole system for the second time today. But then we should be good.
Oh, okay.
Air.
And dust.
No, that was my rag.
Dust.
Great. Okay, so now we can put this back together.
That's an organism of some sort.
I'm telling you, it looks like a piece of raw chicken. Like, or a mussel or something. I think what happened is when the biobore went into the system, which kills the organisms in the diesel, it was left for so long that all the organisms died and created masses. The masses got sucked through the pickup tubes, and then they just kept growing. Well, accumulating, not growing. It's not alive. It's a bunch of dead creatures that have conglomerated into that. After dismantling the entire fuel system basically yesterday, and bleeding the system and having the engine shut off last night, where we decided at 6:30 to say, well, it's going to be okay. We don't even need an engine anymore. We reassessed the situation today, and I was getting a false reading out of the bleeder bolt, so Billy showed me how to do that better, so we could get all the air out, which meant I get to sit down there with the thumb lever for 45 minutes going like this to get all the air out of the system.
Hence the arm. You got to show the arm.
I mean, these
battle scars.
Yeah, and these fingers are like super strong now. So yeah, finally bled the system properly. And then we also found out that by sectioning off pieces of the fuel system, we deduced that the ray core on the port side is sucking air from somewhere. And then
I think it's stuck check valve.
Yeah, there's something in there, maybe the valve, maybe the bowl seal on the bottom, but something in there is causing that port ray core to suck air into it. So when it started up last night, the system wasn't fully bled and the ray core is still sucking air, so it wasn't working properly. So now we're running on the starboard ray core, and it is running, purring like a little kitten. Everything's going great. So we're going to run on the starboard ray core, and I can always isolate that if we need to, shut the motor off real quick, isolate, and put a new filter in, so that'll be fine. So that was great. And then the AC wasn't working. What had happened is that I was dying of heat stroke, and my sports bra was so soaked with sweat that it was a river running off of me on top of everything I was working on. So we assumed that it was the sea strainer that was clogged, because that makes the most logical sense. So Jess began taking apart the sea strainer and found that there was nothing of interest in there. Hence, Billy, let's transfer back to Billy now, came in to solve the issue with the seawater pump.
So pulled the intake side of the pump apart, and everything was flowing water. It was full of a very foul smelling black gunk. So got that out, thought I had it all cleaned out, put it back together, restarted the air conditioner, and it still wasn't pumping water. So I pulled the intake side off, which is after the pump, from the unit, and it wasn't pumping water, so I got the bright idea to blow into it to see if I could get the wheel to start spinning in the pump, and it worked like a damn champ, because it promptly blasted a large amount of very awful smelling mud directly into my mouth. And I rinsed my mouth out with vodka, because that was the only thing that we had that seemed semi-sterile. And ever since, the air conditioner's been working like a champ.
Whoop whoop.
Yep. My breath's a little foul.
Questionable at best, yeah.
Yeah, yep. Kind of got a
Earthy.
to it.
An earthy fragrance.
Hopefully get off the dock in the morning and start heading up towards Fort Myers, Sanibel Island area to find an anchorage for the night. And we're not going to try to do 120 miles for our next maiden voyage. We're going to do 50 instead, because that's smarter.
And I'm going to go ahead and get everything ready so that I can come get y'all at your next stoppage.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Billy.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I think everybody's really happy to be here.
It's going well.
The word of the day is fuck.
Yeah.
You sound like a seagull when you say that.
Thank you, bye.
Yeah, thanks for joining. You got to go dry, wet, dry. That's really the key.
That's the key to good paper mache.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the back to front.
Because otherwise you don't get the same crane.
Right, correct.
No, it won't.